Good day, collectors and viewers. Social Distance Warrior is back with video number 20. Today we're going to look at the most iconic character in Star Wars. You know, the all-powerful, all-famous, all-sinister Darth Vader. Now, Darth Vader made his debut back in The New Hope, 1977. Obviously created a huge presence when he first came out on scene in the Tantive 4 when he was looking for the rebel spies and the plans and for Princess Leia. And, you know, out came his stormtroopers and then followed by Darth Vader. We knew right away who the main bad guy was of this movie. And it would forever change our lives for sure. Now, we captured this same guy in action figure form in 1978. Kenner did. That's this incarnation of Darth Vader here in all of his glory. So you can see Darth Vader has got, you know, his outfit, very, very close resemblance to what he looked like in the movie for the times. He does have this plastic cape, boots. He's taller than your standard action figure, which is really neat because he was tall in the movie as well. And you have, you know, standard articulation on this figure with his arms and his hands. Now, he does have the telescoping lightsaber, just like his counterparts, Ben Kenobi and Luke Skywalker. So there's a little lever on the back here, shaft on the back there, a slot where you move that lightsaber back and forth to extend it or to pull it back in. Now, the front is very brittle. You can see mine here does have a bit of a twist. Don't get too excited. It's not a double telescoping lightsaber for all of you that don't know. Darth Vader initially came out with a double telescoping lightsaber where you can pull the tip out even further, have a longer lightsaber. That was afterwards discontinued, probably due to the fact that they were very brittle, easy to break. They made it into standard like this, and you just move that lever out, and Darth Vader takes his lightsaber out and has a battle with Ben Kenobi or Luke Skywalker or whoever you want. You know, life and death battles. So that's the look of the character. He does have his, you know, computer control panel on the chest there. His head, you know, symbolizing Darth Vader and how he looked. Super popular at the time. Of course, his cape, you can either have it up or down. I like to have it down so I can see his helmet. But that's Darth Vader 1978. And of course, he'd be available through 1980 and 1983 as well, through Empire and through Return of the Jedi. And then, of course, you know, Star Wars would go dormant, and then Star Wars comes back in 1995, Power of the Force 2. Now, in Power of the Force 2, Darth Vader did actually get re-released in this form here. So they initially made the 4-pack of original figures, Luke, Han, Chewie, and Darth Vader. Didn't get a very warm reception through collectors because they wanted new figures, but that was short-lived. So we did get him re-released. He's slightly altered on that form as well. You can tell the difference between the two of them just on the size and lightsaber and stuff. So we get a brand new Darth Vader also in 1995, Power of the Force 2. He get a complete resculpt, and just like a lot of the characters at the time, that's this guy here. Everything was very, very beefy and muscular looking, and Darth Vader is no exception. That is actually Darth Vader there, and not some superhero or wrestler in disguise, although you'd think it was, judging by how muscular he is. He does come with his cape, which is removable. And he does also have a lightsaber, which was initially released extra long, like you can see here. It's massive, like it's taking up the whole camera there. I'll take it out of his hand just to show you. When I size it up beside him there, put him down, you can see he's tall, so it's not nearly his height, but it comes up right to his helmet. So it's very, very long. They would correct it going forward. Cape is removable on this guy as well. So we can pull that cape off to show you what it looks like. He does have, you know, articulation in the arms. In the head as well. You know, you can turn that head back and forth. Nice glossy finish there. And then, of course, the legs. The legs can move up and down. And then you can twist them at the waist, which is a new feature on Star Wars figures. But very bulky. I was actually very happy to have figures again, but he always kind of stood out as being too bulky to me for sure at the time. But that's what we got for Darth Vader. I wasn't crying. I needed Star Wars figures. So in 96, they had the multimedia event, Power of the Force 2, called Shadows of the Empire. Darth Vader would get released again, this time in a 2-pack with the villain at the time, Shizor. So Darth Vader, if I'm pronouncing that guy's name right, Shizor, I believe it is. Darth Vader is almost exactly the same as that previous one, except he's sculpted a little bit differently, as is his cape. He's kind of more leaning towards battle, and then you can see he's got the lightsaber at the corrected height instead of, let's show you them side by side. So you can see just how much longer it was initially compared to what it is now, right? So he come out with Shizor. Let me just pull you that other one aside just to show you a comparison. See exactly what they look like. So you can see the cape's a little bit different. It sways out instead of in. And then, of course, his positioning, his leg is a little bit bent in the front because he's fighting the villain there, instead of just, you know, standing on tension like the original one was. So that would be the second version we had of him. And if you wanted to get the villain, you had to get that comic pack and get this Darth Vader as well. So Darth Vader gets some love again in 97. So 1997, also Power of the Force 2, there was a Power Effects Darth Vader with a super long, thick lightsaber. There was also an R2-D2 and a Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker in that wave where they would light up. I don't have one to show you here. We'll throw a picture up just so you can see it. Because I had two Darth Vaders, I kind of passed on him at the time, and he wasn't really posable or anything. The backdrop was nice, but we said it's time to move on, have enough Star Wars figures. So next time we see him, 1998, Power of the Force 2, they made the cinema scenes, and he came with an Emperor and his throne and a Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. It was a final Jedi duel, and we got Darth Vader again, and that's this guy here. So now they kind of gave him to us in a pose. So he's a fixed pose where he can have his arms forward holding his lightsaber. He's still muscular, still got a super, you know, big chest, but it's getting better. As you can see, they're spending more time. He does have a separate robe here on the inside of his robe, of his cape, where it's attached to his hip. That comes down, so it's nice to have that separate one there. It gives it a lot more detail, a lot more, you know, appealing look. He still moves at the hip. He still tilts back and forth. Head articulation. You can't take this cape off. This cape here is fixed on. But that was part of that cinema scene. You can reenact that scene where Darth Vader fights his son and eventually, obviously, redeemed himself. Let's put him back on that stand. Get him back there. So that was 98. Also in 98, we get a Power of the Force 2 Gunner Station Darth Vader. Now, there was a Luke and Han that came with the Gunner Station from the Falcon. You can connect them together. And then there was a Darth Vader figure that came with, it's basically the inside of his TIE Advanced. And we got a brand new Darth Vader again. So we're getting spoiled with Vaders. This one has a nice cloth cape. And the cape does come off. It's got a little, you know, bracket that's holding it together there. You can just slip it under his neck and put it back on. So he does come with a cape. Head does have articulation. He does move, you know, at the hips as well. Arms go up and down. A nice, neat feature now. His legs are straight. He's not in an action pose. And if you lift his leg up, you can bend his knees. So we have Darth Vader finally with articulation. So you can have him sitting inside of his TIE Advanced and fighting our famous rebels. So that was a nice change. And of course, when I saw that he had articulation on the legs, I needed to have him. I actually liked the way that interior of the TIE Advanced looked. So I picked that up. So that's the Darth Vader from, let's see if I can stand him up there. There we go. That's the Darth Vader from that Gunner Station one. So now in 98 also we get a Power of the Force 2 Galaxy with Darth Vader. So they made planets. In this case, there was a Dagobah planet, there was Tatooine, there was Endor, and then there was a Death Star. And the Death Star came with Darth Vader. And that figure that we got was this one here. So he's similar to the one from the Gunner Station. He does have a cape. It's a little bit of a different material than the one from the Gunner Station. The cape's a little bit more, little smoother. And then, of course, there's a little bit of difference on him as well. Now, he does have that articulation at the knees, so you can bend his knees, just like the other one could. But you can see his arms are positioned forward, like you can put them over his knees, and his cape does come off, as opposed to the other one who doesn't have the arms forward. Let's just put them side by side so you can see, just for a second there. So you can see how they sculpted the hands there. And let's put that guy back. So, one neat feature he has on here. Why did I pick this guy up? You can remove his dome. Check this out. He can pull his dome off for the first time. We turn him around. And we have the back of his head like we saw in Empire Strikes Back when we were all scared when that Imperial officer came in to talk to him and he was meditating. So if I pull that cape off just for a second, you can just see what the rest of the back of his head looks there. The, you know, circuitry and stuff on the back of his neck, keeping him alive, and the mask, of course. And then that can come back over his head, but if we bring that Galaxy over, just want to show you something here. So it came with that Galaxy, and that Galaxy has a chair, and I'm just going to momentarily stop here and sit Darth Vader in there, just so you can see what he looks like in his chair, and you can get a pretty good idea of what made this set appealing. A lot more than the other ones, for sure, than the other ones that were available at the time. So that's Darth Vader in the chair there, and you can of course move it around. It does have a little knob there that you can turn him around, so you can, you know, show his back to us, and then turn him back around there. And then on the top part of this dome, you could put his dome. So you can put his helmet up there. And then you can't actually, this one doesn't enact putting it on, but you can at least store it somewhere to show where the helmet is. And then if you close this dome up, you have the Death Star. So just to show you there, you have the Death Star. When you close it up, it sits on a stand. It's a really neat set. So that was the Galaxy sets with the Death Star. Then in 98, we get another Darth Vader. So we get spoiled with Darth Vaders in 98. This time it's freeze frame Darth Vader, the freeze frame line, with the removable helmet. So we're going to get him with an entirely removable helmet for the first time. That's this guy over here. Let's bring him over. And there he is in package with the freeze frame. So they came with these frames, and if you got a slide projector, you can put them in and look at a frame for each figure from the movie. So there he is, Darth Vader, for the first time with a removable helmet. First time ever. He does have articulation. You can move his arm, and then you can see here on the detail on the front, it says with detachable hands. So you can take his hand off when he fights Luke, and Luke chops his hand off. So you have that awesome figure. It still looks great today. The pose and everything on this figure is great. And then just the back of the card, I just wanted to show you the other figures and what it looked like. You had this offer where you could, send away to get the album with some free slides as well. So that was Darth Vader with removable helmet. Let's just put that guy back there. And then also, same year, Power of the Force 2, there was Escape the Death Star game, and it came with Luke with a wet trash compactor look and another Darth Vader. That Darth Vader is the same sculpt as the one with the removable head I just showed you now. This one here. And you can see that articulation that I was talking about. You can move him up and down. You can turn him at the elbow there. You can turn him at the hand. Okay. This part of the dome comes off. So not the whole helmet, just the dome. That's what made this figure unique. Just the dome comes off. And it kind of sits on there and wants to come loose. It doesn't really want to stay on because he's kind of advertised this way. And you put that aside. But that was another version of Darth Vader. Same exact sculpt except for the head. And then, of course, the hand pops off. I'm just going to show you that as well, just so you can see. And it pops off really cool, too. It's got a little, socket there that you plug into. And just pops in and out. So it was a nice feature to have. We never had a, missing hand feature on the figures before, or missing helmets. So they went all out and gave us a great figure. And, of course, articulation at the waist and at the legs and at the arms. And just such a neat figure. I'll just show you what it looks like from the back with his, cape down with the creases in it. Was an awesome Darth Vader. He stands up really well even today. So that was the Escape the Death Star game, 98. And also in 98, we get a flashback version of Darth Vader. So this is later in the year, towards the end of the year. And out comes Darth Vader again, another figure. Let's bring him forward here. There he is. Now this one's got the ability to hold the lightsaber in two hands. So you can see there's a slit here on the elbows where you can maneuver that arm back and forth. You can still go up and down, but back and forth, and he still does have articulation in the wrist, which is really nice. And he does that on both sides. So he has wrist and elbow articulation. He does have a separate, piece in here, just like that removable helmet one does, but it's a brand new sculpt. He's a little bit bulky still. So for my liking, I think Darth Vader's a little bit bulky here still. But you can see his eyes are, a lighter black, more of a purplish or reddish, dark reddish color, like that vintage figure. And there he is on his base, and you can just see his cape kind of, swoops over one end. You just turn around to the back just to show you there. And that's what the Darth Vader looks like from that freeze frame line. Now, he also did come with these freeze frames that I talk about in all my reviews and never show them. So I managed to take one out here just to show you on the Darth Vader. So this would sit beside him on the card back. And then because they were advertising the episode 1 prequel movie, you could see a scene from the first movie. So we pull this down, and we see Anakin Skywalker. So that's Darth Vader when he was a kid. So it relates to him in the prequels. And then bring it back up as Darth Vader. It's actually really cool. And it's in a nice, hard, thick plastic there. And you can collect these things that came with the figures. They all had one. And you can see on the back there, it says copyright, 1998 Hasbro. So that was the freeze frame line. Flashback line, sorry. Then next time we go to 1999, this time CommTech. So there was a CommTech for episode 1. And then, towards the tail end of the year, they made, CommTech for the Power of the Force line as well with the green card backs. Darth Vader was one of those figures. Actually, this is one of my favorite figures. We get him here with his cape, and this time the cape is cloth, and it's a nice cloth material. And even though his arms are positioned, like they do swivel up, but they're kind of locked in that position. You can't really do much with it. He just looks amazing. Like he looks like the New Hope Darth Vader. And then you can see this part is cloth. The inner part is cloth. The legs, there's no articulation other than just up and down, nothing at the knees. But he does have his lightsaber, you know, mounted there on the side of his belt. You can't take this one off. That's just there, fixated there for display. And the cape is really, really neat. Just hangs over, and he's just a nice figure just to have there. And, you know, intimidating in his presence. You can pull that cape right over the front when his arms are like that. And you can have him, you know, standing, looking intimidating like he did in the movie. Now, he did come with an awesome accessory. Remember, I was telling you guys that a lot of times the figures, you know, justify buying one again. He came with something cool, no exception. He came with an interrogation droid. So here it is from when he interrogated Princess Leia on the Death Star. He comes with a stand. You know, you can stand it up there. You have the interrogation droid. It's got the little red, you know, eye underneath there, you know, the needle on the side, antenna and stuff on the top there. And he actually does come off the stand as well, which is really neat. So just such an awesome accessory, and definitely completes the figure. And it's a favorite of mine just for that reason, that he came with an accessory that I really, really wanted. So that was Interrogation Droid with the CommTech Vader. Next is Power of the Jedi 2000. We get a Dagobah Vader. So what other Vaders can they make? Well, they can make one in Dagobah as well, because they've given us almost everything else at the time. And here he is. And now you can see just from the light, this is why the light's really good to have here. You can see that he's translucent. So if I put, you know, another Darth Vader beside him, you can see the contrast in color. This one is see-through. He's more of a ghost form from the cave when Luke went on Dagobah and he did the trials there, the Jedi trials. So you can see how neat this figure looks, and he does have a new sculpt again. And this is all plastic. There's no cloth parts on here. The lightsaber does come out of his hand, and there is some articulation at the elbow, at the hand as well on the figure, and then same thing on this side, elbow and hand, and the legs just move up and down. He does have a little bit of torso turning there as well. You can turn him with the torso. You just turn him around from the back before I show you his great feature. So there he is from the back. And what made this figure awesome? Well, they actually gave us the Dagobah Vader. So Dagobah Vader wouldn't be a Dagobah Vader if we couldn't reveal the mask underneath. So you can pull this front piece of the mask off, and underneath we see Luke Skywalker. So Luke sees himself when he pops Darth Vader's head off. Whoop, I just popped him off there. So the head pops off, which is the next feature that I wanted to show you. And you can drop that on the floor and then reenact the part where the head was on the ground after Luke defeated Vader and saw himself. So there's the Vader. That just pops right back on. Okay, that cape just clips right back onto the back there. And then that face piece, which is a nice little face piece. You can see it's translucent as well. So it's maintaining that look throughout the whole figure, which is really, really neat. That clips on there really nicely as well. That's engineered really well. This is like over 20 years old, 20-year-old toy. And you can see the eyes light up nice and red. So that's our Dagobah Vader. So let's just put him aside over here for now. Okay, now we go also a Power Jedi, same year, 2000. There was a Masters of the Dark Side 2-pack. So all the shelves were cluttered still with Episode 1 merchandise. There was a lot of it out there still. So Power of the Jedi line wasn't really distributed very well, not where I am anyway. So we never actually got the Masters of the Dark Side 2-pack. So it was Darth Vader. He came with Darth Maul. Darth Maul was more of a kit-bashed figure. The Darth Vader was an all-new one. I don't have that Darth Vader. We'll throw a picture up just to show you. I think he's worth mentioning just because he was a new and really good sculpt as well. And then Power of the Jedi would continue. In 2001, we'd get an Emperor's Wrath Darth Vader. So we get Darth Vader, Emperor's Wrath, meaning when he saved his son, Luke, he picked up the Emperor and threw him down that shaft as the Emperor was trying to kill Luke with electricity. And as a result, obviously, he endangered and ended his own life after the fact. But there's that Vader. And again, Hasbro's experimenting here with translucent plastic. So you can see, you know, his hand here is see-through. So is the other one over here. You can actually pop this glove off here to reenact the part where his hand was already chopped off. He does come with a lightsaber. He does have articulation still. It's a new sculpt. You can see how his cape is. The cape is plastic. And so is the inner part. So this has become a standard, doing the inner piece, inner and outer layer of his cape, and his arms there. And if you look closely at this figure, you can see, you know, Anakin's skull inside the Vader mask there. It's really neat, actually. You can see the lightning bolts of Emperor Palpatine, but there's an actual skull in there, which is really neat. Such a neat feature that they put on the figure. And you kind of see, you know, electricity wiring kind of going behind in his chest here too, because this part's translucent too. So that's the figure we got, Emperor's Wrath, and that figure would also get re-released a little bit later. I think it's worth mentioning to show you now in the Saga line. So they remade that exact sculpt. I'll just show you it over here. So it's that same Darth Vader. He's also translucent still. He does still have the skull. They did put an effect of electricity on the top that you can remove. But what's neat about this one here is you can actually take the hand off, and there's a electric wiring and stuff underneath there, so you can depict him with his hand off, just electric wiring showing. So they did re-release him in the Saga line. So that was the Emperor's Wrath Vader. Now, also in 2002 was the 25th anniversary of the original Star Wars A New Hope. So they did make these 2-packs of figures. Darth Vader did come with Obi-Wan in a duel there on the Death Star, and that's this figure here. It's worth mentioning. I took the Obi-Wan off just to show you the Vader. So Vader is pre-posed in a battle stance. His lightsaber is removable. He does have some articulation. The cape, for example, does come off. I can pull that cape off if I wanted to, just to show you what he looks like. And he does, you can turn him. You can turn his head, you can turn his hands, but he's mainly designed to stand there. He doesn't have any articulation on the knees, so he's kind of fixed in this pose. But it's a really nice action figure, and that was to commemorate the 25th anniversary of A New Hope of Star Wars back in the day. So he does come with that stand as well that you put him on, and you can just have him on there fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi. So that was 25th anniversary. Next one is Star Wars Saga. We get a bespin duel Darth Vader. So now we switch to the Saga line, which was with Attack of the Clones. They made one universal line, and we get a Darth Vader, again, pre-posed. They started doing action features on the figures as well. So if you look at this pose here, you can see it's when Darth Vader is tempting his Luke Skywalker to join him to the dark side. He tells him that he's his father. So that's that scene there. There's some articulation you can see on his wrist there, also at the elbow here. So you can adjust how you have that hand where he's calling him, asking him to join him. He does have the lightsaber in this hand too, and you can turn it at the wrist. So there's some articulation there, up and down. He does have an action feature where we lift this guy up there. You can see there's a little button there in the back, and you push that button, and he does do a slashing action. The Darth Vader does. I just dropped the outer part of his cape. Standard articulation here. The legs do move up. You can't really do anything. This kind of gets in the way. That's what he looks like from the back with the button there. They hit it nicely with the cape sitting over, which was a nice feature. He did come with an accessory that I thought is really cool, worth showing, that you guys are going to like. So remember that scene? He's standing out in Cloud City fighting Luke. And it did come with a really big, nice accessory. I just wanted to show you there with a hangar where he's standing out there. And there's the fence where they were standing. And remember when Luke Skywalker injures him, and then he turns around, he chops off a big section of that pillar they're standing on. So this thing does come off, break in half, like he's cutting it in half. Or you can have it sitting there, which is neat. Oh, drop that. I'm going to knock all the figures over. Drop that down. But again, I love when they add these accessories. It really makes them unique. And they really make nice diorama pieces sitting in the background for your figures. So that came with the Darth Vader from the Bespin Duel. Okay, put that aside. Next one is 2003. Also Star Wars Saga. We get a throne room duel with removable helmet. So this one's supposed to be Return of the Jedi Darth Vader. But what they did is, they did this a lot in the Saga line. They basically rehashed figures prior. So it's almost the exact same sculpt as that Vader I just showed you, except this time he has a removable helmet, so it's supposed to be Darth Vader from Return of the Jedi. So you can see him there, and they've painted the chain. So the paint job and stuff is a little bit different here on the front than the previous one is, but the cape still comes off. He still has that action feature where you push it down. He does have a magnet in his hand, so the lightsaber hilt is metal instead of the standard one. I just want to take that helmet out just to show you what he looks like with that helmet on. So that does clip on there nicely. And then if we push that button on the back, he does a swinging action. Well, let's see if I can get him to do it. No. Oh, there we go. It kind of has to lock in place, and then he just swings back. Lightsaber fell out, but you can see, so they have these force effects where the lightsabers had metal hilts. I kind of like that. I think it's neat, and you can actually remove the tip of the lightsaber as well if you wanted to just have him holding it where it's not ignited. So you have that option as well. So let's just put him like that for now. Put that cape back on. Okay. And we keep going. So that was the Throne Room Duel Vader from Star Wars Saga. Next is the Vintage Original Trilogy Collection. So they remade figures. They put them in a premium packaging with the card back of the original figure that they came on. And they gave us some brand new super articulated Darth Vader. So that'll be this guy over here. Let's bring him over here to the forefront to look at. So now Darth Vader, awesome version. At the time was the best one. So cloth cape on the outside and on the skirt part that kind of goes under his belt here. And articulation-wise, awesome on this figure. So, you know, head goes back and forth. He does have articulation at the waist, okay? Up at the shoulders, you can move his arms all the way out. Elbows, no ball joint, swivel. Still really cool considering what we had at the time until then. We just bring that guy back down momentarily there to show you. And he does have some articulation at the wrist as well. Okay, same thing on the other side. On the legs here, you can bend his knees. Okay, and on his ankles, he doesn't have anything on this guy here, just on the knees. So that was the vintage original trilogy collection Darth Vader that we got. And he was a really cool figure. And he came out in Star Wars Empire Strikes Back card back. So that was 2004. Let's just see if I can get him back there without injuring anybody. Okay. Next one we got is Revenge of the Sith. So episode 3 comes out. We get Revenge of the Sith. Darth Vader comes back out in all his glory, and he gets an update. Of course, all the movies had these slight differences on Vader, and he's no exception here. He's super clean. Really nice looking figure. He's a little bit limited in articulation here, but it's nice that this part's all cloth. You can see the helmet is really neat. It's brand new, and they really went, you know, out of their way to make that helmet nice and big and gigantic and menacing looking. And then he doesn't have any articulation on this arm here, just up and down, nothing in and out. His arm's in an action pose. He does have a swivel at the elbow there, but that's as far as it goes in there. But sorry, at the shoulder, but not at the elbow. This side over here, same thing. You can go up and down. It doesn't have that same articulation here because it's got an action feature, but he does move at the elbow. The lightsaber, the way it goes in and out, you can see it's got a... his hand's kind of positioned as a solid with a little hole in it to put the lightsaber through. And they did that for a reason, just so it doesn't fly out of his hand when you do the action feature. I thought that was kind of cool as well. And then articulation on the legs, same thing, up and down. So not as nice as that vintage original trilogy collection Vader, but a nice welcome addition. And then I'm just going to pull him off the stand for a second here to show you his action feature. And you pull his legs together, he does a slashing action on there. Okay, just to show you that. Let's put him aside. And then we get an Evolutions version of Darth Vader. So they made a pack with Evolution sets. In this case, it was Anakin from Episode 2, Anakin from Episode 3, and then Anakin from the end of Episode 3 / Episode 4 as Darth Vader. So we get a brand new Evolutions Vader. That'll be this guy here. So this one's neat because now they don't give us a swivel. They actually give us, you know, a ball joint at the elbow. Let's see if I can get you to show you that here. Mine doesn't really want to bend upwards very well. This side's probably better to show. There you go. So you can see that on there. You can see my figures are solid. I don't really display them too much. I just get a pose and I hold it. He does have the cloth goods there. Articulation at the legs. He's got articulation at the knees. And he's got articulation at the ankles as well, which is nice. So ankle articulation on this figure here. Again, brand new sculpt. And then the helmet pops off here. So that's a nice new feature that they've added there. And there's, you know, Anakin Skywalker, the older one from the end of Return of the Jedi. And he's got a, you know, this big scar on the top of his head there. And we turn him around, you can see the scar on the back too. So he's battle damaged. We were wondering what happened. We actually found that in Episode 3. He got into a big fight with Obi-Wan Kenobi and someone else had the higher ground. Obi-Wan in this case. So that's the Darth Vader that we got from the Evolution set. Just put him aside for now. Next figure is the 500th figure. So just like they did with Boba Fett 300th figure, they made a 500th figure of Darth Vader. That Darth Vader came in a really nice set, sitting in his chamber. I'll bring that over here just to show you. So he's in his chamber. Let's move these figures back. We get a nice look at it. And this is all solid part. You can see the detail inside the chamber there. And Darth Vader does come with super articulation. So it's the same one as the vintage original trilogy collection. He does come with an extra arm here that you can put his lightsaber in, but these come sculpted where you can sit him down and then put his hands over his legs. He's got a perfect likeness of him sitting in there. And the nice feature here, you pull that lever up in the back and that takes his helmet off. So you can do that scene from Empire Strikes Back where he's sitting in his meditation chamber and the Imperial officer walks in. So this is a better version than that one that we got with the Galaxy that I showed you earlier. And you can take that helmet out, and Darth Vader's fully articulated, and you can bring that helmet back down on his head, just to show you how that works again. You bring that back down on his head, and that clips in. And there we go, Darth Vader in that 500th figure form. So that was an awesome, lot of Darth Vaders that year. So that's 05. Next one is Revenge of the Sith Deluxe. So they did a rebuild Darth Vader. So it's like Darth Vader being born. They made a figure of that as well on his operational table. Let's just bring it over here. That's a really neat figure. This is a favorite of mine. Like, everything's solid about this part. We released this a little bit later as well, but I have it here with Darth Vader before he's built. So you can see he's missing an arm here. There he is. His head's exposed. He's crispy, so he's burnt. Over here, you can see he got his robotic hand here. He got cut off from Count Dooku in Attack of the Clones, but now it's, just a crispy metal piece there. And then you can see no legs, just spots where the legs are supposed to go on. And they even took the time to paint them silver to show you it doesn't have legs on there. Now this thing, if we push the table, you can sit in an up position like that where they're operating. On Darth Vader, you can also bring that down. This little lever here, if you push that all the way in, it unlocks the handcuffs there. We can take Darth Vader out, and he can be Darth Vader built at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Now, I just want to show you one feature here. Let's put them together while we have him here on camera. So he does come with his full armor, so that pops over his hand. Make sure I'm getting everything on the right hand. I don't think I am there. Yeah, okay. That goes there. So that's his joint. Let's see if we don't have any technical difficulties here. Okay. And I didn't show you that chest piece does come off as well. We'll put that on. Just move these figures back for now, just so we have some room. Okay. And then that chest piece does go in too. Let's make sure we put that chest piece in right, so he can work properly. There we go. And then the other glove goes on this side. You want to put it with the fist up, obviously. So that goes like that. That slips all the way over his hand, all the way up. And then he's got his boots as well. So obviously one goes on one side, one goes on the other. And they clip on. Let's get that on there. Let's get the other boot on as well. Okay. Those ones aren't going on as easily as I was hoping, but they still go on. And he looks decent in Darth Vader form there. And then, of course, the helmet. So you get his helmet on, and you got a complete Darth Vader action figure. Articulation's a little bit restricted. His legs do move. He does move at the waist, up and down, but he's mainly designed to kind of sit on that operating table. So you can put him back on the table now. Okay, let's get him in there. Let's get his arms in there. And now when I lift this up off the lever, it's going to lock his arms into place there. So now we have Darth Vader when he's built, and at the end of the movie, when Palpatine's waiting there and tells him that Padme's dead, and then this thing unlocks, Darth Vader gets off, and he's born. So that's a really neat figure. Favorite of mine. I love how you can take him apart and have him as battle damaged and as the final form. So that's Vader from Revenge of the Sith. Next Vader we get is the 30th anniversary. So in 2007, it's 30th anniversary of the original Star Wars. They made them with collector coins. They came with accessories. Vader was no exception. We got him again. Here he is here. Now this is a New Hope Vader, so they're getting a lot better. Hasbro is in depicting which Vader it is. You can see he doesn't have that chain running across, and the armor is a little bit of a different shade there. The helmet is removable, so you can see it's got Anakin underneath there. And the likeness is a little bit more detailed than the previous one. Doesn't have as much blood showing there because it's a little bit dried out, but the skin tone's a little bit lighter as well. Our super articulation, so he's got the swivel at the shoulders, at the elbows, articulated at the wrist, at the legs here, at the knee, at the toe, at the ankles, everything. Articulation-wise, he's awesome. And that helmet goes back on, and the Wicked accessory he came with here, his stand is actually Obi-Wan's robe. So you can see here Obi-Wan's robe. There's the hood of it. There's his lightsaber, and it's right at the end there where he, it cuts through him and Obi-Wan disappears. He's got a little peg for his foot, so you can have that whole scene where he's standing, wondering where's Obi-Wan when Luke's screaming, "No!" So there it is. That's a really neat feature for that Darth Vader. That was 07, part of the 30th anniversary. Next one is Legacy Collection. Darth Vader. So we get Darth Vader again. This time, what's different about this guy here? Well, he does have that look from later in the movie with the chain running across. Almost the same sculpt, almost entirely. Cloth goods up here now, which is a new thing. So the cloth runs from here all the way up under his shoulder. And then, of course, his head, visible there, revealing. And then the helmet breaks in two pieces. So that part, you know, this breathing apparatus stays on there. And then he's got the separate piece of the helmet here. Okay. And then the top part of his helmet right there. And that does clip together and join on there pretty solid as well. So let's put that back on his head. Okay. Just to see what he looks like there. So that's Darth Vader. Legacy Collection. Let's get the lightsaber back in his hand. Let's put him back up there. Have him stand up there. Okay, so next one we get from Darth Vader is 2008. We get a battle damaged one. So they made, it's also 30th anniversary. A little bit later into the line, Force Unleashed, the video game gets released. Darth Vader has an apprentice. And then in that game, you know, spoiler alert, if you haven't played it, Darth Vader fights him at the end. And gets battle damaged. They made a figure of that. So here I have him in battle damaged form. So you can put his helmet back on. You can put the chest piece back on. There's a part for his leg there. You can see his robotic leg, his skin sticking out. So he gets beat up pretty good. They made a really nice action figure of it. I love seeing this one in the package, so I kept him in the package. He does have a stand in there. So when they stopped releasing them with the coins, they put the stands in. Let's just turn this thing around so you can see it from the back. There he is depicted on the back with the other figures that are available in the wave and a nice little bio on Darth Vader from Force Unleashed. Okay, so that's 2008. Let's put that back up there. And now we go to 2010, Vintage Collection Darth Vader. So Darth Vader gets released in the Vintage Collection. That's this guy over here. And he comes on that card back from Empire again, like he was in the Vintage Original Trilogy Collection. And really nice looking action figure. So what makes this one different from the ones I have? It's 3-piece helmet this time. So you can remove the helmet, you know, the face piece, and then also the mouthpiece. All three parts come apart on the Vader. So definitive Darth Vader. And there's his capes, you know, sticking through the back. There's him on the vintage card. Really nice looking figure with his lightsaber. I turn him around on the back and you can see this is the updated one with the real scan technology. I do have the original one as well. But they did maintain that Vintage Collection number 8. But that's Darth Vader from 2010. Let's put that guy back there. Okay. Let's try to put him back there. Okay. So next one is also Vintage Collection. This one is Emperor's Wrath. This one was in 2012. So they made us another Darth Vader updated with the super articulation. They stuck him on a Return of the Jedi card this time, which is awesome. And they gave it to us with a brand new translucent head. And that, you know, Emperor's lightning running across Darth Vader. And you can see he comes in the package with his hand removed. And if you look inside there, let's see if I can maybe show you on the side. You can see that his hand is missing here. He just has a little bit of wiring sticking out on the front there. Let's see if I can show you from the front a little bit better. There we go. But that's the Darth Vader that we got from Return of the Jedi through the Vintage Collection. Let's put him back. Okay. Next figure. A New Hope. So they made a New Hope version. So here's one thing that's awesome about doing these reviews. I have to dig out all my Darth Vaders. And then I want to try and research so I can make it as accurate as I can. Hopefully accurate enough for you to like it. And I find out there was a New Hope version of Darth Vader on that original card back. So you would have came on this card back in Vintage Collection. And I found out I don't have that Darth Vader. I thought I had all the Darth Vaders. I didn't pick them up at the time. And I start looking deep, the close wise. I don't have the Vader. I thought it was that same Vader from the 30th anniversary. The one that has the stepping on the cape of I'm trying to find him over here. The one that's stepping on the cape of Obi-Wan. This one here. I thought it was this exact figure re-released again. I looked at the pictures and I see he's got the swivel at the elbow. I'm like, that's the perfect Darth Vader. And then I'm looking at it closely. I'm like, no, it's not the same Darth Vader. What's different about him? Well, they made him with ball-jointed legs at the hips. So there's a Darth Vader I don't have that I actually have to buy that I found that after this review. So we'll throw a picture up just to show you. He's the ultimate A New Hope Darth Vader that's available out there right now. So next time we see Darth Vader is in 2012, Phantom Menace 3D. They made a wave of figures. They made a Darth Vader figure with a light-up lightsaber. That's this guy over here. Now, he's a decent looking figure. That lightsaber is fixed in his hand. And you won't be as lucky as you were on my R2-D2 review when I pushed the button on the middle of his belt there. It doesn't want to light up because the battery's dead. So, and there's no way to change the battery. So that's the Darth Vader that we got there. He's a nice figure. He does have articulation here. This is actually going to be a little bit impressive. The soft goods, like the plastic here, is very, very thin, rubbery. He does have articulation at his wrist there. He does have it at the elbow. He doesn't have it at the shoulders here. They just go up and down, but it's nice having it at the elbow. And then he has articulation on his knees as well. So I had no idea that he had that until I was doing this review. I just had this figure in the fixed form. I thought he was just 5 points of articulation, but they did more detail on there than meets the eye. So that was from that Phantom Menace wave. Light up Darth Vader. Okay. So next Darth Vader we get Mission Series. So Disney takes over from Lucasfilm. They released a whole bunch of figures. They go back to very, very simple line, which was kind of disappointing because collectors like to have every version of Darth Vader. So we got him again, this time much simpler. He does have a cloth cape cape, which is nice, but you can see the bottom part of his cape here is sculpted to his legs. So they are articulated, so you can move them up and down. Nothing at the hips. You can turn his head, but much more simpler looking Darth Vader than we've seen till now, especially with the vintage collection stuff. So that's the Vader we got from the Mission Series. He came with the Secret Droid. He also got released again the following year too. So that's Mission Series Vader. Next one, also 2013 Black Series. So Black Series got a new Vader, 3 3/4 inch line. Continued just like the 6-inch line. It was a little bit confusing because they stopped the vintage collection, and then gave us Darth Vader with that. Let's take him out over here. What's neat about this guy here? Well, he's almost the same figure that you've had till now, so no articulation on the ball joints here. He is that Vader with the chain. He does come with 2 really neat accessories here. So he comes with a deflecting blaster bolt where he was supposed to, where Han Solo walked into the room, shot at him, and he pulled the blaster out of his hand. So there's Han's blaster, and then there's the blaster bolt being deflected. Now this can come out of his hand as well. You can change this hand with another one, but this one's got the little, slot there on the front of it to put that attachment in. So it's neat. I consider it another figure just because of that feature. I thought that was neat. Now, what's neat about Han's blaster pistol here, it's the best version we've gotten to date. So it's got the handle, painted brown, and the sculpt is awesome on this thing. So I stick that in Darth Vader's hand because that's when he's using the Force pull to grab it from Han Solo. So we can move that guy aside over here. Okay, also, the Black Series 2014. So towards the end of the 2013 line, 2014 got released a couple times. They gave us a brand new Episode 3 Vader. So this is the ultimate. I call it Vader Supreme. Ultimate Darth Vader figure. That's this guy here. Okay, this Vader is just awesome. So this Vader depicts his look in Episode 3. Articulation-wise, he's got it all. So you can move his arms up and down. He's got a ball joint there. He does have it at the elbows as well. He has it at the wrist, so his wrists can go, swivel all the way around. He also has articulation at the wrist where you can pull it in. How neat is that? He does that on both sides on this Vader. The helmet's amazing. Helmet's on a ball joint. Okay. His waist here is on a ball joint as well, so you can move that around. He does have bendable knees, ankles on the bottom there. But the most awesome feature here that I don't have that A New Hope one, he does have ball joints at the hips as well. Like, how neat is that? So you have full feature on this Vader. The likeness is awesome. Everything about this figure is great. All they have to do is give us an Episode 3 Darth Vader on a vintage card back, and we are set. So let's put him back up there on the shelf and move along. Okay. So that's Black Series Episode 3 Ultimate Darth Vader. Next one is also part of the Black Series line. Towards the end of it there, 2015, before they switched to Force Awakens, and then they kind of went away from the Black Series look for the figures, but they made another Dagobah Vader. So we got Dagobah Vader again with really nice, soft goods, a nice cape on there. Again, it's the Vader that we already know. He doesn't have ball joint hips, in case you're wondering, but he's got the cloth, running all the way up under here. So it's nothing that you haven't seen till now, except that they gave us a new Dagobah one, which means that face he's going to reveal Luke Skywalker. So let's try and pull that piece off. And you can see there's Luke underneath there. A much more updated look from that previous one. I do like that previous one being translucent. I thought that was really cool, the fact that it was translucent. And you can see what that, face piece looks like. Now, this figure did get re-released in the Cave of Evil 3-pack Vintage Collection one at the end of 2019. It came with Luke and Yoda, which is nice. And then, of course, this head does pop off as well. I'm not going to pull it off right now because the review is getting a little bit long, but we did get a new Dagobah Vader, which is a nice updated look in that body form. Okay, and then now we go to 2015 Force Awakens. Force Awakens made a bunch of figures. They also made 2-packs. The 2-packs had different themes. There was one with Darth Vader and Ahsoka from Rebels. So we got a Rebels version of Darth Vader. So Vader in animated form. I couldn't pass up. I had to buy it. Let's bring him forward over here to show you. So that's Darth Vader. Nice looking Darth Vader from the Rebels. And you can see right away that it's an animated look. His eyes are red, which is nice. He's got his red lightsaber in his hand. You can't really do much with this figure. He's kind of posed. He does have articulation on the arms and on the legs and on the head, but that's pretty much it. You can't take the cape off. It's fixed in there, but it captures the look of that Darth Vader figure, Darth Vader character from the cartoon for sure. It still catches his presence. You still know it's Darth Vader. You still know he's super evil and scary looking. So that's the animated version of Vader. Let's put him back up there. Okay. Now we go Rogue One. So 2016, Rogue One comes out. They have a line of figures, from the Rogue One movie. And they also, put some original figures in there as well. And Darth Vader was no exception. They gave us a new Darth Vader. But now they've kind of gone back to that 5 points of articulation, which they did with a lot of the figures before they re-released the Vintage Collection stuff. So the figure likeness is awesome. He looks really, really good, Darth Vader does. I can pull that, cape off just to show you. The likeness is awesome. The head looks good. He does turn at the hips there. The arms go up and down. The head sculpt is awesome. This part of his cape does have a slit in it. So you can do something with his legs. You can still move them up if you had to, throw a kick or have him sit down or whatnot. But you can't really have him sitting because this part back here is solid. And then he's got that outer cape as well. I'll just show you what he looks like from the back so you can see. And the outer cape just kind of sits over there. Hangs over him. Gives him a nice look. I had to get it. It's another Vader. This same Vader would come out with the Imperial Probe Droid from the Last Jedi wave, which is the year following. So we get him a couple times in this likeness. Not articulated, but, nice looking on the shelf. There's one more Darth Vader that came out as part of the Solo line. So the Force Link line with Solo stuff. They made a new Darth Vader. I don't have him here. We'll throw a picture up, but he's worth noting. Like, looking at, he's a nice figure. You can hold that lightsaber with both hands as well, which is really nice. And, they're more realistic. It's just nice to see these figures of Darth Vader for sure. So that's all the figures I have from Darth Vader. He did come out again in 2019. They re-released that vintage retro collection. And we got the original Darth Vader on the card back, which is a really nice one. You know what I think about the stickers here, but the figure looks awesome. It's so nice to have one on a card back. He looks great in there with his lightsaber. And we turn that onto the back, and you can see the other figures that were available in the wave. So that's 2019 retro collection, Darth Vader. They gave us a really nice one. They also gave us a re-release of that vintage collection one in 2019 with the real scan technology. I showed you that card back earlier. And then towards the end, they gave us the re-release of the Dagobah one as well with the Cave of Evil with the Dagobah Vader, Luke, and Yoda. So in December 2020, Hasbro would release the ultimate version of Darth Vader based on his appearance in Rogue One / A New Hope. And this Darth Vader is, everything you see. I have him positioned the way he is on his card back right here with the fist up when he was walking, through the tunnel way. Trying to get the Death Star plans back from the Tantive 4. And this Darth Vader doesn't disappoint. He's amazing. To date, probably the best sculpt that we've got of him. And it's nice that the most current one is the best version. You see him there with his fist up. Cloth goods cape. The bottom piece here, which we got used to being cloth as well, is now plastic. But it's a softer plastic. And the one thing that's great about it, though, is it flows well with the figure. So if you look at your figure here, the Darth Vader, you can see it doesn't take away from his appearance, from his look. It actually adds to it. It's not Usually if it's cloth goods, it'll kind of stream out too far, get puffy. But in this case, the figure's perfect. And you can see he's got full articulation there at the shoulder joints, right? At the elbows, at the wrists, right? You can pose them any way you want, both sides. Same thing with, the lightsaber hand. There you can see the detail in the paint job on his chest piece right there. And, check out the head sculpt. Like, the head sculpt is just amazing on this guy. And then if we look down here under the robe, you can see they've given us Darth Vader, of course, with the, ball joint on the hips all the way up to the top there. Because of that plastic kind of impedes your posability. He's going to be standing or just kind of positioned a little bit. Bend at the knee, at the ankle, right? And all the way around the Darth Vader is such a nice sculpt. The cape is a thicker cloth, so it's a nice feature to have on the figure. And it really adds to, the look, the feel of this character when he's in your hand. But that's our Darth Vader to date. And if you can see on his eyes there, you can see the eyes have a nice, red/purplish hue, just like his mask did in the movie. And they nailed this guy. This guy is, to date, I think, the best Darth Vader we've had. And when you have him sitting there in your collection, or if you've picked up that Tantive 4 corridor that they've released recently, you'll agree that this Darth Vader is fitting and a well addition to your collection. And now we're up to date on Darth Vader. Okay, so from the Black Series, I do have 2 Darth Vaders to show you. The first one was at the, beginning of the line, probably the second year in, they gave us the Darth Vader. It's the Return of the Jedi Darth Vader, this one here. So you see he's got his chain on there. You can kind of see it under his, it's kind of fallen off under his neck piece there, but he does have a metal chain. It's actual metal chain with his cape. Super articulated, awesome looking action figure. Lightsaber in hand. Everything's super articulated on this figure at the elbows. Now it impedes him a bit by his shoulder pads on his shoulders, but elbows, hands, the legs here as well. There's a slit here at the top of his thigh where you can turn that as well. And of course at the knee and then at the ankle. So you have full articulation on Darth Vader. A nice big long cape, which is really nice. And it's got some weight to it on the bottom. They put some extra padding down here so that cape holds down nice and flat. And then the helmet does come off on this guy, so we can pull that helmet off to show Anakin Skywalker underneath. I'm trying to get that chain out over here just so I can show you what it looks like, but it's kind of, fallen down in there. But that's, the Darth Vader that we got from Black Series originally. And that helmet goes back on. There we go. And we can stand him back up if possible. Let's see if he wants to stand. Yeah, he wants to stand. Okay, then we got one for the 40th anniversary of Star Wars in 2017. They gave us a brand new A New Hope Vader. Now this one is awesome. This one is the ultimate Darth Vader we've got until now. The cloth goods. He doesn't have that chain because it's from A New Hope. He's got, nice reddish eyes on there. The helmet's really, really intimidating, like really glossy, nice looking. There's his, arms, his hand, articulation-wise, what you expect. The fabric is a little bit different on this cape than that previous one. It doesn't have the weights here on the bottom, but the flow of it's really nice. You can put that behind him there so you can have him standing, attentive to the front. But I think this is the nicest Darth Vader that they've made. Same thing, he does have the ball joints at the hips, a slit there at the thigh where you can turn it, at the knee, at the ankle. So full articulation, same thing at the hands here, at the elbows, at the shoulders, at the wrists. And of course the wrists, just like the other Vader, there is a added articulation at the wrist where you can turn that in, bend that in if you wanted to. You can do whatever you want with this figure. So that's a perfect Darth Vader. All they got to do, Hasbro, just take this one, put them in 3 3/4 inch form, and we are set for life. So that's it for my Darth Vaders. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know it's been a very long review. It is a really key character. He's the most figures that I've had to date. So there's 36 Darth Vaders in 3 3/4 inch that I've talked about, that they're differentiated enough for me to show you. The only other one that I haven't shown you from 3 3/4 inch that I have is my silver anniversary one, which is basically just the resculpt of that Dagobah Vader from Power of the Jedi line. So they just did get released at Toys R Us in 2004. That's one figure. And then the other one was part of the anniversary line 30th anniversary did have a holographic Darth Vader as well. I want to show you that. I didn't have him out there just because I thought it was too many figures to show, but he's basically that Emperor's Wrath Darth Vader re-released, this time with no skull underneath, so he's nice translucent, and the blue is really, really nice. But he's fully articulated. He can move, you know, side to side. Legs can go up. His lightsaber can come out of his hand. But that's the last Darth Vader that we have. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Please subscribe, like, and I look forward to making more videos. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.